Hey, thank you, Justin. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited to be here with you guys. If you've never met me before, my name is Bella. I do sometimes go by Annabella, which is my full name, but you guys can call me Bella. I'm one of the bilingual trainers here at Crosslink, so I do a lot of the Spanish webinars. But I'm excited to have you guys here today. We're going to be going over how to do billing within your Crosslink software. So this webinar is going to be for both desktop and online. We're actually going to start in the online software first, and then we'll move over to the desktop software. Billing setup is pretty similar in both, but I know that the layout looks slightly different, so we just want to make sure that you feel confident in setting up your billing schemes as well as billing your clients throughout the season, because that's obviously a very important part of your business. Like Justin mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll be answering most of my questions in English, but if you are a Spanish speaker, I'm happy to translate as well. So if you speak Spanish, but you understand English and you want to drop a chat or question in the chat in Spanish, I'm more than happy to translate and answer that question both English and Spanish. All right, so let's dive into what we will be covering today. So today we will be going over how to set up a billing scheme, how to access your invoice within your return, how to reload your billing, as well as how to capture a payment. So these are going to be 4 very important things to make sure you have a successful season billing your clients. And we're going to go ahead and start by hopping into Crosslink Online. So if you guys are Crosslink Online users, this should look very familiar to you guys. Accessing your office settings will obviously be very different than in desktop. But to access billing, you're actually going to go ahead and click under Office Settings on the bottom left-hand corner. I do encourage you to follow along. So if you have the software open, so you can kind of start getting an idea of where to find these things, you'll go ahead and click here at the bottom left-hand corner under Office Settings. It does automatically default you into the required filing section, and billing is the 4th option here. So I do also want to point out to Crosslink Online users, obviously we're going over how to set up your billing scheme, but every year you do have to confirm that you still want to use that billing. Reason being is actually under billing, you can set multiple different billing schemes. So if you click on this 3 little dots, you can actually create a new scheme. And some businesses and some offices like to have 1 or 2, 3 different billing schemes and maybe 1 default, right? Or they like to toggle between. Our software just wants to confirm that you do want to use those billing schemes in this year. For example, if there have been some changes to your business, you're also welcome to remove billing schemes, but you do have to still go in and select that. At the top of your page, it will show you that office setup is still pending. So one of those things will be billing that you just need to make sure you confirm on the year to year. So, for example, a lot of my clients actually just click set as default. I'll show both so you guys can understand. But setting as default will be the most common way that you go through your billing. You saw I selected set as default. I did confirm that the information for the office is the same. So if your office information is different, you're welcome to fill it out, but typically the office information will be the same as your general billing information. Here on the first portion, a lot of our clients don't really use this because there's going to be a tax preparation discount. We can get into discounts a little bit further down, and that's typically where you would select that. But there are options for a default hourly rate. We don't typically use a self-prepared flat rate just because obviously most of our clients are just working with us directly and they won't be self-preparing. If you do want to disable your invoicing, which most of you guys here on this call, this doesn't apply to you, this is listed here. Sometimes you guys like to disable the invoicing so that the clients don't get a copy of it. That would be found here. There are a couple defaults here. So if there are specific, features that you want to either turn on or turn off, this is where I recommend getting in touch with your trainer because we obviously know the software really well and we can just let you know exactly what you should be toggling and toggling off. I don't want to cause any confusion by kind of getting into any of that, but these will typically be things that are a little bit more specific to your business. So if you are looking for something that our invoicing or billing might provide that is kind of out of the norm, go ahead and feel free to reach out to your trainer. That could be me, Priscilla, or Gilbert, or even Kent, and we're happy to help you with that. At the moment, we have not released the bank application fees yet, but later on this month when they are released, you will see them populate here. And so if this is not your first year working with Crosslink, this should be very familiar to you, that once you have your bank application and it's been sent to our software, you will see your fees populate here. So for example, if you set a $50 transmitter fee, you would see that here. Well, you would see the transmitter fee from the bank and then the add-on, which would be those $50. So anything that you've added on your bank application will populate here under EFIN fees, okay? And if you're a service bureau, you'll see the service bureau fee as well. So coming in here to the form billing, this is going to be the most common. So this is going to be what most of our customers use if they want to set up a billing scheme. So for example, you see I already have 2 listed. I do want to go over this first one because this will be something helpful for everybody, right? So for example, somebody might ask, well, why are you putting a certain amount on your 1040? This is a really great way for you as the business owner to put a flat fee down so that every return starts at the same amount. For example, say your business, you want everybody charging at least $200, as I have it listed here. Every return will start $200, even the most basic ones, right? Maybe it just has one W-2 and that's all we're filing. We want every return to start at $200. That would be where you use the 1040 form and you'd put a per item. Obviously, you're only going to have one 1040, so an advanced view doesn't necessarily apply here, and I'll go over that in a moment. But if you want your return starting at one base price, we would go ahead and fill that out under the 1040. You see here, I've also added the W-2, and this per item is showing that every time I add a W-2, it's going to be $20. Feel free to drop any questions if you guys kind of get a little bit confused, and I'm happy to review that for us. Crosslink Online does automatically default into basic view. And what basic view is describing is you would go select a form. So this first form. So for example, we're gonna search the W-2 again. It's showing that every W-2 once added to the 1040 will be $20. So if you have 4 W-2s, that would be $80. Now, to toggle into advanced view to help you guys understand why we have two different ways to bill a client when it comes to doing this form billing. For example, we're going to say the base quantity is $2. We have 2 different ways, or I guess 2 different most common ways that people would use this. If I put 2 and leave the base price as 0, it would say that the first W-2s are actually free. And then everything after the second one, so the third one, would be charged at $20. So for example, we mentioned the $200. We said every return is going to start at $200. And maybe our business setup is that every return comes with 2 free W-2s and that $200 flat fee. That would be how we do that. If you say you want to do the $200 flat fee, but you want to say, you know what, for the first 2 W-2s, they're going to be charged $50. We would go into the base price and type in $50. So we know that each W-2 is charged $50 for the first 2. And then the third one would be $20. Any other W-2 outside of that would be $20 in addition. So that's kind of how you were to work with the advanced view. We have customers that use both options or they just use one option. You can toggle back and forth. So for example, obviously W-2 is a really good one because that's a common one that you will have more than 1 or 2. Schedule C, you might have more than 1 or 2. But for example, if we go into the Schedule C and say we like to just charge per Schedule C, versus the W-2 is kind of like rolled into a bundle. For the Schedule C, we can just use the per item. So you can use both advanced and basic view at the same time because we understand that obviously every form might take a different amount of time. And we want to offer you guys that flexibility there. So you can go in and select the per item. So then it just zeroed out the base quantity and base price, and we're just charging per item. So you can go through here and look up any form that you'd like, for example, 1099, go in and add a price. But that is very much how you use this form billing feature. It is very easy to navigate. We do only have the US package right now, but it is also available in the States once it's released, okay? So we're just gonna go ahead and click add, and we see that that Schedule C where we put $50 is now available. We do have 2 other ways that you can bill. These are going to be less common and they might not apply to you guys today, and that's okay, but I'm still going to go ahead and review them shortly. We do have worksheet billing. This is typically, and the reason I say these ones aren't used as often is obviously worksheets are a part of the forms, right? If a client needs a lot of help and maybe, your worksheet's taking a lot longer, or just to fill out the form is taking a lot longer, that's also where you can just add in the itemized invoice an additional charge. Maybe it's going to be a prepare fee, or typically that's what we're going to call it, even if it is just, hey, it took a lot longer to complete this form than the normal time frame. We can just type in prepare fee and then charge an additional amount, and I'll show you guys that once we open up a 1040. But you can use this worksheet billing if that's something that interests you. You can either go down, scrolling down, or you can search the worksheet name, and it would be the same as what we just covered, which was either doing it in advanced view or doing it in basic. Same for line item billing. It's going to be the same. You can go through here looking up the line item that you want to charge for, or you can search it up here. And then same, you'll still have access to the basic and the advanced view. All right, so let's get into some discounts, right? So for example, we'll have two different ways that you can apply discounts to your invoice. So before we even get into the discount code, you have the option of having a discount either in percentage or in dollars. So say you want to do a 10% discount or $10 discount. You would go ahead and select the type of discount that you want to offer. So I'm going to say I want to do a student. I'm going to do a student discount, and we're going to say we're going to give a $50 discount to our students. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do a senior discount, and I'm going to say I actually want this one to be a percentage discount. We're going to do 10%. Yep. And those will populate there. The way we'll access them, and I'll point this out as well on the 1040, is we'll just go ahead and click under choices, and it'll show us what we have built out. You can make a discount for anything you want, obviously, right? Because it's your business. But I do want to just point out that, again, it's going to be either in dollars or percentage, and make sure you get those right, because you don't want to be giving a 50% discount when what you really meant was $50. Custom charges. This one's going to be really good. For example, I've had people who really like to kind of offer packages, right? Maybe they're offering a student package, a senior package. Those are going to be people, it's going to be pretty easy to bundle them because they most likely don't have a ton of either W-2s or a lot of forms to add. It's going to be pretty basic, right? So we can do a student package, and student package we can say is 100. Oh, we're going to put in $150. We can go ahead and put in a senior package, and we're going to say we're going to charge them $250. So again, these will pop up. So if you have, some type of custom charges, I've also seen people use them as like basic, premium, and advanced. Those can be different packages. So really, what we enjoy about our billing is that we can make it as elaborate or as condensed as you want. Our billing is really here to help you run your business. Everybody's going to have a different structure, right? Some people are going to really like custom charges, and same with discounts. Other people are going to be like, we don't offer that at all. That's totally fine. All of this is fully customizable for how you want to run your business. So yep, everything that we've reviewed here, you guys can make however you guys, want. And to save this, just make sure you're always saving at the bottom. And now this is going to be my default. I am going to go show you guys how to create a new scheme. So we're going to click create new scheme. We're going to type in the name, say we're going to actually make this office A. So this is going to be important for my multi-office. So if you're a multi-office or your service bureau watching this, this would be really helpful as well, because when working in Crosslink Online, you can actually copy over the office settings. So for example, when I add this, now we're going to see office A. You can copy over the settings. In this specific office, I don't have any other offices to select from, so it's not going to let me. But if you are a multi-office with more than one office that you're servicing or working with as the account owner, or even as one of the offices within them, if your account owner has let you know that there's more than one person or more than one office that works there, you would actually be able to copy over their billing. So you would select billing under that office. So you would drop down and then select billing, and same with business billing. And I'll toggle into business billing in a second, but it does look the exact same. So we selected office A, we just went ahead and saved all the information and save. but you can go ahead and differentiate between each office and different billing schemes. Okay. Yep. Business billing is here on the left-hand side, and you see it does look very similar. We do need to still set the default. You have the form billing. The only thing you don't have here is the bank application, because obviously that doesn't apply. But everything else here is the same. You can go ahead and build that out as well. So no changes here. I do want to point out, actually, before we hop into a return, if you were an account manager or account owner, sorry, if you're an account owner and you offer ancillary products, so audit allies, remote signature, one of the other audit systems that we offer, you are able to go ahead and mark that up as well. And you would do that here under your account code. So for example, if I wanted to mark up and say I want to charge $25 additional on audit allies, I can apply this to all of my offices, and I can go ahead and click save. And now it will populate and save to add that base available as $25. Because this is a test office, it's not showing me my base fee because I'm not enrolled in any bank products. And I obviously don't offer services because I'm not a real office, but that would be how you mark that up to apply it to your billing. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and close out of here. I'm going to go ahead and select my office again, and we're going to go ahead and open up a return together. Okay, awesome. So here's my return, right? So since we're reviewing billing today, we're going to go ahead and click straight into the invoice and billing and payments. So here it's already gone ahead and imported our information from the billing scheme. You see imported means default. So if I wanted to change it, so for example, for those multi-office service bureaus, if you have different ones, you would be able to select it here. But at the moment it is set to our default, so it's just gonna go ahead and import that. Here you see that automatically, because remember how I said every return was going to start at $200 and I had it listed as $20 per W-2, it has already calculated that information. So that's obviously why we like to use billing, right? Because then you guys don't have to worry about making sure you're putting the right prices on forms or anything like that. It's already calculating as you move along. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down real quick to show you guys, because not only does it calculate it, but it's also going to let you know that per item billing so that your customer can get an option of that or can go ahead and review that with you. So this will go ahead and itemize it so that they know exactly what they're being charged for each form. All right, to scroll back up, we see our office information here as well. If these really are going to be ones we most likely skip over. Most of us don't charge an hourly fee only because obviously it's kind of more of like a per return basis. Hourly kind of gets more into business billing, and you're welcome to set that up in there as well. But for example, say you want to let your preparer charge an additional fee depending on how long it took them to prepare the tax return, or it's just your preparer's fee. You can actually just come in here and type prepare fee, and you'll go ahead and type in here whatever you'd like. Say I want to charge a $50 preparer fee. Charge $50, and now we see that this is our itemized invoice. The technology fee will also always show here. So that's good so that your customers know what they're being charged so that you charge it and get that fee reimbursed to you. If you do have a bank fee, or if you are doing a bank application, the transmission fee, any transmitter fee, and e-file fee will also show here automatically. And then you'll get your total here. Feel free to drop any questions if you have any, but most of this information will be populating over as long as you did your billing correctly. And then the only thing you would add additional would be if you want to do a prepare fee. I do have a lot of people who just charge a flat fee, and I do want to point that out. You don't need to set up billing other than maybe just selecting the office information for it to populate. If you prefer to have a very basic billing where you know what you like to bill your clients, that's totally fine. And a majority of our customers do also invoice that way. You can just do either prepare fee, or you can just type in return fee. And then you type in the amount due. So say it's a $300 return fee, you type that in. Obviously, if you do the itemized billing, it's just going to continue to calculate, and you see now we're charging our client $500. But I do just want to point that out. If you don't set up billing, you're still welcome to do a return fee flat like that, and then it'll populate. Awesome. I do see some questions. So give me 1 second. Let me pop open this box so we can take a look. Okay. I see a desktop question. We'll hop into that in a moment. Right now, we're still doing Crosslink Online, and then we'll toggle into desktop as well. To wrap up here with Crosslink Online, there's two things. We have the option to reload billing. So if you ever run into any issues with your EFIN, or say, you added a bank app, you took a bank app off, and we just needed to reload that billing, you'd find that here under the drop down, and you just click reload billing, and it'll go ahead and reload it for you. This kind of toggles a little bit out of billing, but I do want to point this out because it does go hand in hand. We do have this payments feature, and this is both in online and desktop. So selecting payments feature will allow you to capture a payment. You do not need to be enrolled with PayJunction. You do not need to send a remote invoice. You can actually use this manually, which is really great. I do encourage our customers to use this because this is another way to track how much money you're making, especially if you're kind of just either taking cash or checks, or even using a third-party credit card payment system. It'll allow you to see the payments that you're capturing here within our Crosslink Online portal. Now, if you do decide to enroll with PayJunction or send type of remote invoices, you're welcome to do that by selecting one of these, and then that'll help capture the payment within our software. PayJunction is a credit card or debit card payment system. But if you already have your own credit card or debit card payment, or if you choose to take cash or Cash App, that's totally fine. We have no issue with that. Obviously, these are going to be your options here. And then you have other as another option. So say you're taking Zelle or Venmo or something like that. If you click other, you can actually just type here in the memo Zelle payment so that you remember, right? You can put on here who you've received it from, taxpayer spouse. You can say it's John Doe. You can type in anything you want, and this is just to help keep you organized, right? So we're going to say that we actually didn't get the full payment from the person. We're going to say we got $400. So we're going to go ahead and say we got a $400 all payment, and we'll pay the rest next week. Obviously, we don't necessarily recommend that, but on the off chance that you know the customer, they've been a customer for a long time, you know they're going to pay you next week, you can go ahead and put that in your notes, right? So that you know, hey, they didn't make the full payment and here's the reason why. So when we click save, now when we go back on the invoice, we show discount or credit. I understand it can sometimes be a little bit confusing that it shows as a credit. However, if you scroll down, it is going to show you here the payment and or credit received, and it is showing that there was a payment for $400. Okay, so now when we go back into the invoice, we're seeing it's $154. Okay. Oh, somebody wanted to see how do we apply the discount. Give me 1 second. We're going to go ahead and scroll down. All right, let's take a look here. Okay, so you see here we have predefined discount. If we go ahead and select choices, now we see both of those discounts that we had listed, right? So we can select either one. Say we're going to select the student discount. Now it's showing us we have a $50 student discount. Okay, so you would go here under itemized billing charges and discounts. Awesome. All right. How do you delete a payment if you make a mistake? So that's, unfortunately, there's really not a way to delete a payment. Once it's in here, it's in here. I'm trying to think. I believe what we've been told, and I might have to follow up with you via email. I don't think you're allowed to put a negative payment in here. If that does happen, let's see if it's going to let us save it as a negative payment. Okay, so it does. You can go in here as a negative payment. So you can zero it out. Obviously, in that situation, this is where that received from portion, right, is really important. You need to go ahead and type in when you're doing the payment, received from, void previous payment, and then you just put in like mistake or something like that. So just make sure you're taking good notes if that's what happens in that situation. That should have answered your question. Yep. For cash or check, I mean, I understand, like, if you want to null it out, but in that case, it shouldn't be the end of the world. But like I said, you can go out and void out the payment and say, you meant to select check versus cash. All right, awesome. Shouldn't be too many questions here. We're going to go ahead and open up desktop now. So we can always come back to Crosslink Online if you guys think of anything. I'm gonna go ahead and open up my desktop software. So taking a look here, our setup is gonna be at the top left-hand corner. So this is obviously gonna be very different. So if desktop is what you're working with, make sure you pay close attention. It's gonna be at the top left-hand corner under setup. And then we have billing setup, right? So obviously this does layout wise look very different, but we do still have all of the same features available in online as we do in desktop. So we didn't make any changes. The only thing is with online, it is a little bit more automated. So those boxes of checking, hey, is this information the same, is a lot easier accessible. We did add a portion here for you to load your company info from setup. So if I click load, it's going to load in my information. So that's a really cool thing to add, just so that you don't have to go selecting in the return. So I do always recommend that. Make sure you go ahead and click load and it'll load in your office information. I do want to point out, and I can toggle back into Crosslink Online, we did release a new feature this year. So if you watched our what's new in the Crosslink software, we did touch on the default bank app disbursement option. So for example, if you guys are partnered with the bank and you guys really like working with the like little green dot cards or like the Visa cards that they have, you can go ahead and select card, and then it will automatically default in the bank app to disperse as a card. Granted, I understand that might not be the most popular. Typically, people want a direct deposit. You can select whichever one works best for your, for your business, or you can leave it blank, up to you. But most of you guys will most likely use a direct deposit form payment, and then it'll just select it on the return for you in the bank application portion. So that's pretty cool. For form billing, we're going to go ahead and select. You see here, it is desktop is always under advanced view. With online, we can toggle back and forth, but in desktop, it's always under advanced view. So same thing, we can add $200 to the 1040. Desktop does have a little bit different of the layout. It's kind of like in most popular. Like going down, so your W-2 here is at the top, so you don't really have to, well, there isn't an area for you to search it, so we try to put it that way. But you can just go straight down to find the form that you're looking for, but your most popular will be here at the top. So for your W-2, like I said, we can still do that too for $20, and then say it's $50 for, starting on the third one. So that's how you use that. It's very simple. Same with the worksheets. We went over this as well. The way to fill it out is the exact same way as form billing. And you would just go ahead and look to find the form that you're looking for. You do have your state forms as well. So you can go in and add that, and then it'll go ahead and open that up for you. Line items will be the same. And then we've got our discounts, right? So discount does look slightly different, but it's all the same. So we're just going to go ahead and fill that out again. Student discount percentage is going to be 10, and we're going to leave it like that. The difference between desktop and online, okay, it's saying we hit too many characters. So obviously we can shorten that up or just leave it as is. So for the senior, because we did the senior discount, we want to make sure you're paying attention, because this first line is going to be discount percentage, and then the second one's going to be discount amount. So this is a dollar amount here in this third box, and then the second box is going to be percentage. So just make sure you're paying attention to those, right? And that's why I always recommend do some sample returns, do a sample of your invoicing as well, to make sure that those amounts are right. You don't want to be accidentally, doing for the first time an invoice when you have somebody sitting right in front of me and they're like, what do you mean 50% off discount? And you're like, nope, I meant $50. So make sure to take a look at that, okay, and practice before you start invoicing for the year. Custom charges, same. We're gonna go back and do our little student package, and our amount's gonna be, $200. And same with the senior package. It's gonna be $300. We do have custom settings, so your remote signature. If you mark that up, you'll see that here. And then a lot of us don't really have PPR anymore, but there is PPR billing in there as well if you need to take a look at that. I'm gonna go ahead and click OK. I am gonna point, so actually we can set this as our default. It is gonna ask you to label it, so you can set it as default, Office 1, whatever you want to call it. You can You're just going to click OK, and now it's going to go ahead and select it as our default. I do want to point out that with desktop, obviously all of our billing is here. If you need to review your bank application, obviously that is technically part of your billing, right? Because that's part of that fee structure. You would access that under your databases, EF originators. Sorry, my pretend EFIN did not move over, I guess, from last year. So you would have that here under Rack Bank. It'll let you know what bank you've enrolled with, and that's words, excuse me. The Rack Bank, which bank has been accepted onto your application. And under Advanced View is where you're going to see all of your bank application information. So any of those markup Cs, you're going to see them all here. So just remember, desktop's a little bit different. You have to go into your EFIN information to access your bank application and to review your fees, okay? So I do recommend for both online and desktop, make sure you review this information before the season starts, because if there's any, if your fees are off or there's any edits you want to make, you have to make sure you're making those before the season starts and before you make that first return. So this is obviously just good information to make sure you review, because you don't want to catch any mistakes after you start doing returns, because then that's going to be a little bit more difficult. I am going to go ahead and start a return with you guys real quick, so we can just look at the reload options. Okay, I'm just gonna put it in. All right, so taking a look at our invoice, you see that it does automatically capture that $200, right? So it went ahead and put that down because that's what we had listed in our invoicing. This should look very, very similar to Crosslink Online. Obviously, it is very, very, I mean, we really didn't make any changes other than the slight layout differences. But where you type in information is still going to be the same, right? So it's, when you don't know, look below. It's letting you know you can put a service charge or description. So we're just going to do a prep fee. And we're going to go ahead and add $150. You see that the information is calculating. It went ahead and added all the information here. And then here on the bottom, we still have the options to add those discounts. There we go, our predefined discounts. We go ahead and click choices, and now we see we have the 10% student and $50 senior discount. So we're just gonna click OK, and it's gonna go ahead and apply that discount to our return. You do see the form billing here as well. I believe, let me go ahead and take a look. Okay, for predefined charges, that was going to be those packages. That was, I think, something that I did not go over in Crosslink Online. So if you did create a package, you would find that under predefined charge. You just go ahead and right click, or you click on the little 3 dots in Crosslink Online, or on the bottom where it says choices, and then it'll allow you to apply the package to that return. Awesome. I am going to go ahead and cover how to reload your billing real quick, and then I'm going to go ahead and go over the questions, because I do see we have some questions. So here under return, reload billing is going to be here in the middle. Okay, so if you guys want to go ahead and notate that, I know some of you guys really like those quick keys. It's going to be Control U to reload billing. And like I said, that's typically if you run into any issues with your EFIN, reloading the bill.